Hey, Geraldo Rivera joins us.
Good morning, everybody.
I saw you about an hour ago. You rode your bike to work.
I did. I rode my bike to work today because you get into Manhattan, and first of all, with the crazy driver, the killer driver in Times Square, 1 block away. I mean, it took me so long to get to work by car from the Upper East Side of Manhattan. The bike is the better way to go.
Is it a Huffy?
All the traffic. Is what?
Is it a Huffy?
A Schwinn?
A 10-speed?
Brand?
Do you mean like a motorcycle bike?
No, no,
it's like a mountain bike.
It's like a mountain bike.
All right.
Got good suspension.
Geraldo, let's talk a little bit about, he's not traveling by bike, but he is taking the 747 that says Air Force One on the license. And we're talking about the President of the United States, his first overseas trip. He's going to change the subject now, away from Russia, which the mainstream media has been wanting to talk about. And you think the Russia thing is just a load. I think it's a load of crap, but you can get killed when a load of crap spills on you. And he has to be very careful now not to fall into what they constantly do. It's never the crime. It's always the cover-up. Remember, it is my contention there is no crime at the heart of Russiagate. You know, whether somebody was cheering on, the Russians committed the crime. They hacked. They gave it to WikiLeaks, who committed the crime in disseminating it. But it's no crime, as I have said on and on and on, for someone in the United States to say, oh, I hope those Russians dump, you know, a bunch of stuff on Hillary Clinton during an election.
But he's got to be careful with his tweets and his taunts and his interviews.
And his interviews under oath or to federal officials because of the perjury trap.
Because also, do you think he should get a private attorney? That's the big talk right now, because, remember, that's what Bill Clinton did.
I think that the president should exercise extreme caution from here on out. I lament some of the bolder statements he has made, some of the reckless tweets he has sent out. I think he's got to be very measured now, and I want everything to be lawyered up. To answer your question, I would definitely get a key white shoe criminal defense attorney to measure every statement he makes.
Yeah, but you know, Geraldo, if he hires that white shoe criminal attorney, that's going to be the headline. He's hiring a criminal attorney because he's obviously guilty.
Better that than to stumble and make a statement that can be contradicted by something you said earlier. That's what happens to every one of them. That's what I believe Russiagate will ultimately be. You're going to see Mike Flynn is going to go down. Why? Because he told tales out of school. He spoke to the vice president, said one thing, spoke to other federal officials and said something else.
Well,
he was
lying to the FBI is the problem.
But I say this about obstruction, so-called. If you read the federal obstruction statutes, they require corrupt intent. There is no way, even if you read Comey's memo about his meeting with the President of the United States in the most negative light, there is no evidence there that there was an intent to corruptly influence a public official. If I say to Brian, go easy on Steve, he's a buddy of mine, that's not a crime, or I wish you would go easy. It's not a crime. If I said to Brian, if you don't go easy on him, I'm going to fire you. That's a crime.
Right, and that's, by the way,
that's what he said. He said, according to the memo, I hope. And if they are friends,
you'll let this go.
Then I hope you'll let this go. You would probably say that.
30 seconds. Celebrity Apprentice. Me and Kevin Jonas. One of us has to be fired. The NBC producers are telling Trump, the host, fire Geraldo. Kevin Jonas will get the better demographics going forward with the show.
Wait a minute, they do that?
Trump said, I'm not going to fire Geraldo. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm firing Kevin Jonas because Geraldo is right. I mean, Trump will do the right thing. Believe me, Trump will do the right thing.
Kevin Jonas got so mad on that show.
He was so mad.
And I would not be surprised if that is brought up by Donald Trump's attorey. At this whole illustration.
Suddenly, I would gladly be a character witness.
Robert Mueller is now looking into Jonas Gate.
Rob, that's
what have I done? The can of worms I've opened.
Yeah, you know you're going to get every late night show.
That was such great TV.
But Geraldo, the other thing is, when he said at the end, when Comey comes back at the end and says he is a good guy. To me, that's evidently what the reporter said, that the person on the other end was reading the memo. So he goes, you know, easy, you know, Mike Flynn, whatever he said, but he ends up, he's a good guy. And then Comey's come back and goes, he is a good guy. That wasn't, I am outraged. You can't do that. I'm running the FBI, sir.
And the memo was February, and this is May. I mean, that's also fine. You know, he is a tremendously loyal person, Donald Trump. That's the thing about Mike Flynn. Mike Flynn's an American hero. Donald Trump, like me, never served. We always have envied those who did serve. Michael Flynn is a patriot. you can see how Donald Trump, with 40 years of personal experience, he's so loyal personally. I'm going to cover for my pal. I'm going to try and do the best I can for my pal, for this American hero, for this patriot, General Flynn. But General Flynn's in a heap of trouble.
Here's the problem, though, that the people who voted for him, they love the fact that he speaks his mind and that he does have, I mean, a lot of people love the tweets. They like
Not
that
many.
he is
People
speaking.
are losing, they're falling out of love with the tweets big time.
Well, you go to Middle America. You go to Middle America, and they like the fact that the president is speaking to them, and they don't want him to change who he is as a person. They want him to sit in the meeting and be loyal to his friends and say, look, can we work this out? But the left is trying to change the narrative. You have, let's play the soundbite. You have Comey being questioned on May 3rd, just
under
a few
oath.
weeks ago, under oath, saying, have you ever been pressured to stop an investigation for political reasons? He says no. Listen.
If the Attorney General or senior officials at the Department of Justice opposes a specific investigation, can they halt that FBI investigation?
In theory, yes.
Has it happened?
Not in my experience, because it would be a big deal to tell the FBI to stop doing something that without an appropriate purpose. I mean, oftentimes they give us opinions that we don't see a case there, and so you ought to stop investing resources in it. But I'm talking about a situation where we were told to stop something for a political reason. That would be a very big deal. It's not happened in my experience.
So that flies in the face of what the New York Times said the Comey memo said.
That is a very telling soundbite right there. And it, to me, takes the wind out of the sails of the allegation that he was attempting to steer in a criminal way the federal probe or the FBI probe. I want to talk about the special prosecutor because it's really a big deal. But before I do, I have to say,
right?
I have to say special counsel, right? But I want to say something about something Ainsley said. Ainsley is the nicest person maybe I've ever met in broadcasting, and you always see the bright side of things, and I appreciate that. But when it comes to the tweets have done him far more damage than have scored him points. I know.
It really fueled everything last week.
Yeah,
for the last
I volunteer. For free of charge, I will be the tweet editor for the President of the United States. It's my civic duty.
And you'll use spell check.
I know.
The president
At the very least, I'll use spell check.
He sent one out yesterday that was misspelled. Before you go, let's talk a little bit about Roger Ailes, who it was announced yesterday. He died yesterday down in Palm Beach, Florida, at the age of 77. He was the chairman of Fox News Channel. He hired all of us and got it started.
I just, going back to Ainsley, it's not about her, but yesterday morning, 24 hours ago, I thought that she captured the sentiment of everybody in this building. He had a checkered last 9-10 months of his life. His career here ended in a very sorry and melancholy way. But that cannot and must not ever detract from the greatness of this man. He invented Fox News Channel. He gave voice to half the country who was voiceless when it came to news and information. He was a genius. He hired me twice. He was a loyal friend to me. All those times I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, I knew that if anything happened to me, Roger Ailes would have my back. I was proud to be present at the wedding with Beth at City Hall with Mayor Giuliani presiding. I've known him for 40 years. His son, Zach, now a teenager, should know that his dad was treasured by those who really knew him. I'm sorry the way things ended up. But as I said yesterday, if his life had ended 11 months ago, before any of this crap had come up, he would be on Mount Rushmore. He was that important.
St. Patrick's.
And buried in St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Yeah.
Generous, so open-hearted, helping people who had various afflictions or complications in their life, standing shoulder to shoulder with those folks and saying, don't worry, we have your back. He's the kind of friend that you treasure forever. I lament anything that I ever said that could be used to attack him now. I lament that his obituaries have, in the first paragraph, talk of the various this scandal and so forth. But I want folks to know this was an essentially good man, a good man who loved his family, loved his country, and loved his colleagues in a way that made us all feel like family in this building.
And loved to be generous, didn't he?
So generous.
He told me once, he said, if anyone asked me for help, how could I ever tell them no?
He gave me 10 grand for Celebrity Apprentice. I was just saying.
We bought wedding dresses.
You bought wedding dresses.
They were $5,000 a piece.
$5,000 a piece.
Right.
Brian just laid another $5 grand on me last week.
Really?
Right.
Mr. Moneybag.
Well, he's got a great cause.
It's a great cause. You know, helping disabled, intellectually disabled youngsters have a decent life.
Is this your foundation?
Built off your will of
Life's work.
Yeah.
It's great cause.
Geraldo, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Geraldo.
Back on the bike.
Sorry to end on that sad note.
Well,
Just
rest
love
in peace.
to
You know,
Beth.
we
Love
need to
Beth.
celebrate his life.
Celebrate
'cause
everything that's come.
He influenced all of ours.
Everything you're watching is because of Roger.